Hi, today I want to continue my discussion around self-love. It is absolutely essential to creating a flourishing life. And that's why it's important for us to really tune into how we can become better lovers of ourselves. So, I have three tips I want to offer today to get you on the path or move you along further to increase your ability to love yourself well. So, here's the first tip. This might not sit well with everybody, but when you hear it out, I think you'll understand why it's important. And that first tip is to make yourself your number one priority. What do I mean by that? I mean simply taking care of yourself as the number one priority. For many of us, we spend an awful lot of our energy looking at how we can be there for other people, whether it be our spouses or our kids or our friends, where we are just jumping in and doing everything we can to meet their needs. And oftentimes we will do it to the extent that we're not taking care of ourselves and burning ourselves out. And one of the things that's really important to keep in mind is that you can't give from an empty bucket. So if you aren't taking care of yourself, ultimately that bucket is going to be drained and you won't have much to offer. So when you take time out, and I really suggest that the early part of the day, that you take out 5 minutes at a minimum to really nurture yourself, to maybe to pray or to keep a journal, read some inspirational literature, think about exercising, drink a glass of water, just breathe. Those are just basic kinds of things that are self care that will enable you to begin filling your bucket. And so that you will have reserves as you go throughout the day. That's my number one tip. Number two tip is stop criticizing yourself. Many of us really battle this whole view of the importance of perfection or trying to be perfect. We all know on cognitive level that nobody is perfect, and yet we seem to continue to live by this standard, and we judge ourselves mercilessly when we don't hit the standards we have for ourselves. We say things like, "Oh, I'm so fat," or "I'm not smart," "I'm ugly." I've heard so many negative comments from other people, and I know there have been times in my past that I have said some of those terrible things to myself because there's this whole idea that we're supposed to be perfect and we just won't cut ourselves any slack. Perfection is not achievable. So let's just take it off the table, and let's instead we can have a standard of excellence. Belittling yourself and criticizing yourself, all it serves to do is it destroys your hope and it weakens you. It doesn't get you to self improvement, it does just the opposite. So stop criticizing yourself. And the third tip I have for you is to begin to praise yourself. Now, that may feel kind of weird and awkward, but I want you, when you look in the mirror, to find one thing that you can praise yourself for. And whether it's your character or something about you that you're a kind person or you like your eye color or that you're good at something and how you put your outfits together or the way that you know how to answer someone's question about how to make a particular recipe. It doesn't matter what it is. The whole point of it is learn to praise yourself. Look for the good in yourself. And here's an important add-on to this is when people compliment you, receive it. Don't push it off and say, "Oh, this old thing," or "Oh, that's not a big deal." When you do that, number one, you are pushing away the gift someone is offering you. And second of all, it's an opportunity for you to get some feedback about yourself and just receive it and take it in and say, "Well, thank you." And even inside, you might just say, "Thank you. I'm so glad to know that about myself." So these are just simple tips, but they can be powerful. So I encourage you to start practicing. Just pick one today. Make yourself your number one priority through your morning routine. Number two, stop criticizing yourself, or at least work to decrease it. I mean, if that just seems like too big of an order to place right now, start small. Start catching yourself when you're criticizing yourself and flip it around to a praise instead. Look for one thing you can be grateful for yourself that you can praise yourself for. So let's get going on this. Your future is dependent on learning to love yourself better. Have a great day.